Alright guys, so esports is finally here with the NHL sponsored World Gaming Championships. Today's video, I'm going to go over all the settings and strats that I recommend for all the players that aren't, insanely skilled to have a chance to face some of the top players in the world in the upcoming tournaments. I'm NoSleeves12. So in my past videos throughout the season, I've showed you guys my strats and settings and lineups and things like that for, the below average players to get better and actually take advantage of the AI in the game. And almost all of that has been predicated on being insanely aggressive, which is fantastic because when you're starting out and you don't really know, a strategy for when playing NHL, being super aggressive is really good because what you're going to do is when you're facing lesser opponents or maybe even opponents of your same skill level, where you're going to take advantage of them is having the insanely aggressive AI constantly hammering them in their own zone. So that works fantastic in your division play and even your comp seasons for the most part. When it comes to playing top players in NHL, there is a few ways that you're going to get absolutely crushed. There's no way around it. This tournament is in a few weeks, and say you want to decide that you want to try and do well in this. You're playing against kids that have been playing this game for hours a day for the last 9 years of their life. Now it's single elimination, so anything can happen in this. Okay, so it's not like you have no chance if you're average or above average. With certain settings and whatnot, you can use the game to try and assist you in facing these top players. So today's video, I'm going to show you what I now use against other top players. For example, Josh Fearless. If you've heard of him, he is one of the qualifiers for Philadelphia for the the World Gaming Tournament that was just held, the Snyder Cup. He's a friend of mine, and I played him a few times, and there's always one constant. Yes, he's insanely good, and he has way better vision than I do, but every time that I keep it close, there's one kind of constant that always happens, and then when playing other good players recently, I've noticed that it's the same every time. So there are a few ways to score in NHL that are almost always the same, right? And that's, the one-timer cross crease with the guy wide open in the slot, or, the stop up and shoot short side wrister. Those are staples, okay? But what happens is there's way more goals that are scored on odd man rushes. I'm talking 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, or even 4-on-3s. Anytime that you come across the zone with numbers against a very good player, that is where you're going to get absolutely torched. Your time on attack really doesn't need to be worried about in this. You can let someone cycle in your zone for as long as you want, but there's only 1 or 2 goals that they are looking for. That is the cross ice, so you just need to block the lanes, control your D-men or control your winger, and make sure that you're watching passing lanes. The other one is the in-tight short side wrister or the forehand backhand deke. Again, those are things that you can watch for. On the rush, with a good player, it's almost infinite. They have every single go-to goal at their disposal. They can cross in at the blue line up top and go short side wrister just inside the blue line. They can throw you a one-timer on the rush way early than what you expect, and it's in the back of the net on a 2-on-1. There's just so many more goals that happen on the rush, and that's what I want to show you guys today, is how to defend that and how to stay in games. So guys, before you even get into settings or playing the game, you need to pick your versus team that you're going to use. There's no more 99 hut cards. This is all going to be pretty even. There's really only 3 or 4 teams that are going to be viable for this. I mean, any team can technically win, but there's going to be about 3 teams that you're going to see consistently. That's Pittsburgh, that's Tampa, and that's Winnipeg. One of those 3 teams I would start practicing with. Again, if you don't want to, be my guest. Use whatever team you want. If you're very good, you're going to win probably regardless of the team. But if you want to have that best advantage, or at least the same advantage of most other players, it's Pittsburgh, Tampa, or Winnipeg. And I'm a Sharks fan, so I can't stand the fact that I have to use Pittsburgh, but in my opinion, they are the best. And the reason for that is Tampa has a great lineup, top to bottom, but there's so many left-handed shots. So let's discuss the actual lineup first. I like Pittsburgh because it has the same amount of left-handed and right-handed wingers and defensemen. You have to go in and make sure that you look at your scratched players and make sure that you put Robidell in on defense for Alexiak, I believe, and then you switch Aston Reese and their fourth line, just switch them around. But their lineup is fantastic. Then on the power play, you also want to make sure that you have left-handed shooters on the right wing and right-handed shooters on the left wing. Same with the points. You need to be able to fire a one-timer from literally anywhere on the ice from any position. That is imperative, guys. So now let's get into the actual strategies. I'll give my boy Giroux a shout out here because A, he needs my approval, and 2, he's extremely good at the game, and these are the exact same strategies that he uses. He's a very, very good versus player, and these honestly have been mostly the strategies I've been using recently. The most important is the 1-2-2 passive. This is very, very against all other, really strategies, videos, and strategy tips, because the 1-2-2 passive means that your forecheck isn't going to be very, very hard. And I'll explain why that needs to be in a little bit. The neutral zone needs to be the 1-4. The reason for that is you want to clog the line. Denying entry into the zone is going to be your biggest focus when playing top players in NHL. Again, I'm going to explain why. Trap and forecheck, you need to have it down towards the trap. Again, it stays in line with the more conservative way to play this game against top players. And then offensive pressure, same thing, conservative. Defensive pressure is where you want to ramp it up, because once they're in the zone, you need to make sure that the CPU is hammering them as much as possible. Everything else is pretty basic. Power play is overload, all of that, and yeah, you want to make sure that all of your line strategies are also overload. That doesn't change. Alright, so let's get into it. Why passive? Why switch from being super aggressive and having the AI constantly hammer them when in the offensive zone? Time to explain. Alright, so when you're playing extremely good players, just understand that your time on attack is usually going to be completely low. Like, you're not going to be able to just get the puck back when they're in the zone. You're going to have to let them cycle, and the reason for it is just they are better than you. They have more vision. They understand how to score goals. But let me explain again. On the rush, there is infinite ways to score. In the zone, cycling, there's really only 2 or 3 that you have to watch out for. And because you're playing high aggressiveness in the defensive zone, you can use one single player, not switch around. And I'm not talking about skill zoning. That is one way, and if that's how you choose to play, that's how you choose to play. For anyone that doesn't know what skill zoning is, it's taking your centerman, setting all your CPU AI to high aggressive, and sitting your centerman directly in the slot, not moving him. I don't really advocate for that. I control my defenseman a ton, but I don't switch off unless you get beat. So unless someone's skating around and you end up getting a step behind them, you need to switch off and go to somewhere in the slot. But in this strategy, in these settings and whatnot that I'm recommending here, here's what you need to stop. They can control the entire period, okay? That's fine. Let them do it, as long as the score is 0-0. What you want to do and how you want to focus on scoring your goals is off the rush. If they're playing super aggressive, okay, and they're all over you, you're going to have some chances to break up the ice for an odd man rush. And I'm not talking about a 2-on-1 or a breakaway. 3-on-2s are just as good. You can do tons with a 3-on-2. And just understand that you're not going to be able to cycle all that well. That's fine, but if your entire offense is predicated off the rush and you know that going forward, you know how to take advantage of the chances that you do get. So in these clips here, I'm going to show you what I do. The second I lose the puck in the offensive zone, switch to a forward, and you want to start skating back. You want to get off, lay off the pressure. You need to start defending the rush. And the reason is because if they get a step on you and they have an odd man rush, 9 times out of 10 with an elite player, it's going in the net. So get used to just playing. You need to be patient. That's essentially what it is. You're just being patient. A lot of guys, when they get down by 1, maybe even 2, they'll start playing aggressive. And that is when you get into those blowouts where you just, say you're into the 3rd period and it's 1-0, and then by the end of the 3rd period, it's 7-1. And the reason for that is because when people get behind, they change their strategies. And I'm saying don't do that. Okay, you're going to get your odd man rushes. The rushes are going to happen no matter how good the player is. And sometimes when they get up by 1 or 2, they play a little bit more aggressive and stop worrying about having so many guys back, and that's when you want to take advantage. You're not going to score a ton of goals off of the cycle and the one-timer. That's fine. You're going to get those chances too, but not very many. You want to worry about getting into the zone in an odd man rush, and what you need to stop, and why these strats I recommend to anyone who is just above average, nothing crazy. They aren't playing for money or anything like that. Going into this tournament, understand that if you defend the rush and stop them getting into the zone, that's what you need to worry about the most. You need to start disrupting them at the line. What you do with that 3rd player, that first guy, when you lose the puck in the offensive zone and you take it back and you just start skating him straight back, what you need to do is close the gap when they're on the rush. And what I mean by closing the gap is making sure that you meet him at the blue line in the neutral zone. So when they're skating through the neutral zone, you slow down or speed up, whatever you have to do, so that when he crosses the line, you meet him with your defender. Okay, and with the 1-2-2 passive, you're not really going to get caught ever. And then with the 1-4 as well, you're gonna have 4 guys stacked at the line. And if you are controlling that one aggressive forechecker, that the one out of the 1-4, you can then use him and double up on stripping the puck in the neutral zone, because denying zone entry is how you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. But what you need to make sure is that you're scoring off the rush. So when you are on the rush and you're looking for ways to score, there's tons. Okay, you skate down the zone and you stop up short of the faceoff dot, short side wrister. Again, you can pass it early on a 2-on-1 for a slap shot one timer from above the faceoff dots. You can hold it down low and wait for him on a 2-on-1. You can bait him into diving or trying to take away the pass, and you go backhand, forehand, or forehand, backhand in tight for that easy goal down low. There's so many options, guys, and that's what I'm trying to get across to you, is that the sooner that you understand you are getting destroyed in games because of how you play on the rush, the longer that you're going to stay in them against really top players. There's going to be games where the cycle game of the guy is so insane as well, and that happens. You're playing against the best in the world. That's going to happen, boys. But watch for the rush, and that's why I think these settings are going to help a ton of people survive a little bit longer in the World Gaming Championships. So guys, I hope this video helps you. Again, you want to just start practicing. You're going up against guys that have played hours on end for 10 years at NHL. So understand that you're probably going to get smashed in a few games. That's going to happen. But these strats, I think, will help you. Again, check me out on Twitch. I will be streaming Sunday to Wednesday, doing my LG games, but also doing as much versus as I can in leading up to this tournament on both consoles. So catch me on Twitch, NoSleeves12 on Twitch. Again, Sunday to Wednesday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Follow me on Twitter. I'm going to have all the information and, talk NHL throughout the next couple months. That's at NoSleevesGaming. And make sure you hit me with a subscribe button. I'm going to have videos, again, like I have for the last year and a couple months, every week about NHL. And, yeah, guys, so I'm NoSleeves12. Stay average.